Hey, it's Joseph here. This desk is a brand new addition to my office and I have been loving it. So I wanted to tell you why I chose this configuration and show you the process. By the way, I installed the new lights to brighten up my office too. Let me know down in a comment if you want to hear out how I got around doing that. Ever since I bought a standing desk, I have purchased several more. Now I have total of 5 standing desks in the house. I know I should downsize a bit, but at least I've learned a few things along my way and figured out what I need and what to look for. As I mentioned in the title, there are 2 parts to the desk, the top and the frame. When it comes to the frame, you got endless results when you search for them. At least I can tell you that the ones that I've tried, they were all great. Some are more expensive than the others, and more expensive ones generally had more features and better build quality. So I had to prioritize and figure out what I really need so I don't end up spending thousands of dollars on my desk. And here are the few things that I need in no specific order. An automatic standing desk, which means that it can go up and down with a press of a button, so I can change my posture throughout the day easily. I spend 10 plus hours each day on my desk, and if I don't change often, I will have a bad time with my back. Although I'm not doing that right now, but I also shoot videos when I'm standing, and I find that to be quite natural and more comfortable for me for shooting purposes. Number 2. Weight capacity of at least 200 pounds. Because I've got quite a lot of gears mounted on my desk, including lights and 3 monitors and a desktop that's mounted underside of the desk, I needed to be able to carry some loads. The butcher block top is also quite heavy, so I factored that in as well. As to why I chose this specific top, I'll mention that in the later portion of the video. Number 3, sturdier frame with less front to back shake. This is quite a tricky parameter, as the marketing copies everywhere says heavy duty and the most sturdiest type of desk is kind of a subjective thing, and it is not really a problem that everybody faces. However, this is quite an important aspect, as I've got all the equipment mounted towards the back of the desk, making it kind of top heavy, therefore introducing more shakes. And just because of physics and gravity, all the desks are more prone to shake when it is on the extended position or the standing position. And because my cameras are attached when I'm shooting, it just introduces so much shake to the videos that I'm capturing. If I just go on and shake about, then the viewers will basically experience earthquake. However, the side-to-side shakes are not really big of an issue, as I am the cause of all the shakes, and I'm always in front of the desk kind of pushing in a way rather than shaking it side to side. All of my previous frames were 2-leg design, which means there's 1 leg over there and then 1 leg on this side. Some were better than the others in terms of sturdiness, but not to the level where I was satisfied. So as I did some research, I found some companies offer 4-leg design. So this narrowed my search quite a bit and was the reason why I decided to get a new desk. Number 4, height limits, speed, motor count, etc. There are other miscellaneous things that may matter to you a bit more. These are other miscellaneous things that didn't matter as much to me, but may be important for you. I am 5 feet 6 inches, and I found all standing desks tall enough, and I don't mind waiting a bit to change posture. I usually swap the floor mat to a chair and vice versa whenever I am changing the position, and the up and down speed didn't really matter as much. Some frames may offer dual motor whilst some are single motor, but that didn't really matter as long as they carry the load that I needed to carry. And some motors were quieter than the others, but I didn't care about that as much either. Number 5, can support desktop 30 by 60 inches. Common desk size are seemingly to be 24 by 48 inches or 30 by 60 inches. My last desk was 24 by 48 and was quite big enough to fit most of the things, but it felt a little bit small as I got no extra room. In the past, I've had 30 by 65 inches and the edges of the desk felt somewhat wasted, especially when my office wasn't as big. One of the important aspects that you should consider is the fact that some of the desk frames that are out there don't really support these monitor arm clamps on the edges of the desk. If the frame is too close to the edge, you will not be able to mount that securely. So I needed to make sure that it at least has 3 inches clear from the edges of the desk so I can clamp those monitor arm system. Number 6, priceless. The cheapest frame that I have is $150 and is actually quite great, but it can't really support the weight and it still is a 2-leg design. Several 4-leg models that I found in different companies were about $900. And I'm sure those are all great too, but I wanted to find something that was cheaper yet capable. So what kind of frame did I end up choosing? Now that I have highlighted all of my criterias, searching for a cheap desk frame revealed some very cheap options, but they were a bit too cheap, if you will. The website descriptions and the reviews showed some conflicting information here and there, and I wasn't really keen on trying them. Then I came across FlexiSpot's E7 Plus on sale for $600 on Christmas. I could not let it pass, so I pulled the trigger. Then I also ordered the desktop soon after as I had it sitting in my cart. I knew what I was getting as it would be the same as my last desktop but just larger, 30 by 60 as I said. Just for your knowledge, E7 Plus does have 4 legs as you can see and can lift up to 440 pounds up and down. The length of the desk can be 47 to 80 inches and the width can be 28 to 35 inches. And adjustable height is from 26 inches to 51.5 inches. And in terms of the desktop selection, mind you, FlexiSpot does sell desktops as well, but I just wanted something quite different. Thinner laminate tops are cheaper and often more hard-wearing because the surface is a lot harder. But when heavy equipment are clamped onto its edges, they're more prone to bend and cause shakes. Because I do video shooting, I wanted some warm wood texture background in my shots. I usually get rid of this desk mat so that you can see the wood as much. Let me do that. The Acacia seemed to have an interesting texture and a tone that I liked. There are pre-finished hardwood tops that you can get, but they usually have a very glossy finish for maximum protection and durability. But when you turn on the lights, the bright reflections on the desktops due to the very bright light kind of look terrible in my opinion. So I wanted my desktop with the finish or sheen, if you will, with the most matte or non-glossy finish possible. At Lowe's, you can order different kinds and sizes of butcher blocks at a reasonable price. I'm sure you can get it from other hardware store or lumber yard. And they also have different type of pre-finish / stains and species of wood. And since I had a very specific need as well as an interest in finishing my own desktop, I ordered this one for $150. 30 by 60, 1.5 inch Acacia butcher block. By the way, I have done this before just on a smaller size. Do check that video out where I was doing the office tour / desk tour. I'll leave the link in the description. Therefore, I had a bit more confidence when I was doing this. and even manage to record videos this time for you learn a thing or two. So I'll show you the process of finishing my desktop. By the way, I'm not a professional woodworker and I may be doing a lot of things wrong. I'm just trying to show you the ways that I have learned and I am at least satisfied. By all means, if you know a better way or spot any of my mistakes, please point them out in the comment. Just don't be too rough and we can all learn from each other. After desktop has arrived shortly after the Christmas, I have opened the packaging and I noticed that the manufacturer's manual says that I need to finish the top within 24 hours of opening the seal to prevent it from being warped. I got the raw desktop and put it on top of my plastic table to start sanding process. I rubbed the wood with my hand to check for damage, imperfection, or some areas that aren't really even, but I do expect that it will not be 100% even as it is a real wood, and you can apply some wood fillers to patch if you would like to, but I didn't find anything major, so I sort of moved on. I also tackled the edges and the corners and sanded them down. When they are originally shipped to you, the edges are going to be quite sharp, and as I will be laying my arm on it, it'll be quite uncomfortable. I don't really want clear rounding, but I just want to ease off the corner so that I can comfortably lay my arm on it. I also closely looked and checked which side is the top versus bot. Depending on the manufacturer, the sides might have significant differences. I basically picked the side that looked better and called it the top side. Once both sides are sanded down pretty well, I wiped the surface to remove the sand dust. Vacuuming and paper towel wipe would just be fine here, but I also used a tack cloth that I bought last time. And I flipped it over to the bottom side to do the work first. It is always a good idea to start things on the bottom or the back side to try all of your products and methods to get your top and the front side to be the right way. Your desktop may receive the combination of stains and the finishes different than mine, so it is always good to test them out. Then I opened a quart of Minwax Polycrylic Clear Ultra Flat left over from the last time. I knew I had only a bit left, but should be enough for a coat or two. For the aforementioned reason, I wanted the flattest look possible, and I heard that a water-based product like this one is a good balance between difficulty, durability, and the look. And also do have a light read on the direction that's written on the can. Make sure you swirl, not shake the can before opening it, and having some rags or paper towels around would be quite useful. You can get the yellow plastic pour spout for cheap from Home Depot. I don't know why they don't sell this at Lowe's, but pour it onto a little bucket or just directly on top of the desk like I did. I used 3-inch foam brush to continue the theme of being cheap and do it in small sections as the water-based product dries quicker. And brushing over an area that's already started hardening can leave uneven and undesirable results. Generally, don't go over the areas that you've already done, and more thin coats are better than fewer thick coats. Just focus on evenly spreading out the liquid. Note how the wood looked like, and as it became wet, it looks a bit warmer, and the final result will be somewhat in between. Because the wood will soak a lot of liquid on the first coat, you may notice that starting side already started kind of drying out. Resist the temptation to touch it and move on. I like brushing along the grain left and right of the desk because I find it give more even results, but I might be making that stuff up in my head. I use the axis to lightly brush the sides and be sure not to leave any streaks or droplets forming on the edges or the underside, because getting rid of those after they have dried is kind of cumbersome to do. Once you've done the light coat throughout, leave it for 3 hours per directions on the can. And before I leave the scene, I put the top back on the can. You don't have to hammer the darn thing too tight, but at least give it a few taps to avoid drying, and always put a rag on top as you tap. Otherwise, you can end up spraying the liquid everywhere. Don't ask me why I know that. If you're concerned about the brush drying out, you can leave it in a Ziploc bag and seal it. which is a good tip, I think. After 3 hours, you should lightly sand the area and prepare for the second coat. If you rub it with your hand, you'll probably notice that the fibers of the wood are standing up on some areas. That's the areas that you want to smooth it out. Then it's the same thing as the last time. Clear the dust by vacuuming and wiping, then do a thin coat again. After 3 hours of second coat, I can lightly sand the top, clean, then flip over the desktop. I was shooting for just 2 coats on the bottom as I don't really need that much protection here. You can probably get away with 1, 2, but I just did it because. The top side is your good side, so you're going to use all of the techniques that you have mastered so far. Again, more light coats and patience are the key. I promise you, it will all pay off and you will love it. Since the drying time is 3 hours, I now have time to assemble the desk frame that has arrived. It arrived in 2 boxes. One box basically includes parts for one side of the legs. Following the assembly manual, it didn't take that long to assemble. I think it took about 30 minutes tops. Because I knew it was going to be heavy and take it apart in order to transport it from the garage to the upstairs office, I didn't tighten all the screws very tight, and it worked like a charm. So quickly, we are back to finishing the desktop after 3 hours. By the way, I actually did this over a weekend, so I say 3 hours, but it's sometimes overnight. Anyways, it still is just repeating of what you have been doing. Just a few more times for better durability. I think I did a total of 4 coats for the top. Once that is all done, I mark the top side versus bot side using the painter's tape. You do not want to mix this one up. The can actually recommends about 24 hours before the actual use, but I might have taken it to mount the frame before 24 hours. I think that's okay. I wanted to protect the wood top, so I had a clean paper boxes on the floor, then mounted the heavy frame to do the desktop carefully. And again, note the top versus bottom at this point. You don't want to mix them up. And you obviously don't want to damage the top that you have been working very hard on. And also I made sure I centered the frame on the desktop. 3 inches away from the edges was what I was shooting for. You can basically adjust the center portion of the support beam for your overall length adjustment. With the top attached, it was quite heavy and I called my wife for help and rolled it over. And voila, it is finished. Very sturdy. Keep in mind that this sturdiness will vary depending on the floor type, desk height, and the amount of weight you have on the desk. Also, if you happen to mount a lot of things on the edge of the desk like I do, you can introduce more movement. But I found this desk to be quite more sturdy than others. Then I disassembled it and transported it to my office. Mounted all the gears, and this is now what it looks like. I'll leave all the product links in the description. There are going to be affiliated links to support the channel. It is definitely not the cleanest setup, but very functional and has everything that I need. I have quite a bit of weird things here and there attached to my desk. If you want to know more details about them, please leave the questions down in a comment. I'll let you know what they are and how to get them, or maybe another follow-up video. My office is always evolving and I'm always looking for ways to improve it. But definitely I am happy with the new desk. What do you guys think? Do you guys also have a standing desk? What kind do you have? Or what kind of desk are you looking for? Please let me know by leaving comments down below. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please like this video and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching as always. I'll see you next time. Bye.